Hey, welcome back, friends. Recently on my front door I made a nice improvement to it with this deadbolt right here. Let me show you what I did. So this is the Lockly Vision Deadbolt. Well, those clouds outside, nice day out today. So I installed that first on my door, and then I realized that if I'm going to put something that's nice on there, I should upgrade the rest of my door. So that's what I'm going to do. I have some new hardware, some satin nickel, a new handle there, and then a door knocker, and then I have some new paint. So I'm going to take this door off right here, and I'm going to repaint it because my dog Oakley likes to jump on it once in a while. Then some other hardware I have, there's these hinges right here, and then the striker plates. I'm going to upgrade all that as well and see if I can get some weather seal too. So right now there is a gap in the door right there, so I plan on taking this trim off right here and then shimming the door jamb in closer, because right now that is gapped quite a bit. Right up top it's nice and tight, but it spreads out a little bit too far, so there's room that I can push that in and add some insulation. And then I'm going to repaint this side of the door as well too. This is going to be a front door makeover video, so it's going to change the appearance of the door. It's also going to improve the function of it and the efficiency. Right now it's a little bit later in the afternoon, so what I'm going to do is run to Home Depot and get my paint and my supplies, and then I'm going to come back and gather up all my tools so tomorrow I can hit the ground running and tackle this project. Alright, I'm excited because today we have all the things we need to get that door turned around. So I'll just show you a few of the things that I have. This isn't everything, but this is one of the first things right next to the door. I have a register right here that is kind of beat up. Sometimes we'll dry our shoes in the winter time, and I think some salt on our shoes melted and rusted it. So this is pretty cheap. This will look good having that. And then I have the new satin nickel doorknob right here. That will match the deadbolt nice. And then when I take the trim off to insulate it, I have this Loctite insulation right here. This is expanding foam stuff for doors and windows. And then for taking the trim off, I just have a little pry bar. It's also nice to have a chisel. And this is like a painter's tool right here. This looks like it would work well to pull the trim off without like gouging up your wall too much. And then for nailing the trim back on, I got the Milwaukee 18 gauge cordless nailer right here, the brad nailer. This is really nice. So I also have the paint, which is in a can inside my garage. And then I have a sprayer. This might be overkill for the door, but I'm gonna use my Graco airless sprayer right here. I have a 313 tip on it, which looks like it's gonna be an ideal size. If I had my choice of the paint sprayer, I'd like to get one of those handheld ones. They're a little bit pricey. One that has, I think it's either like 32 ounces or 42 ounces, a reservoir on it that you can paint. But this is gonna be a little bit overkill, but I think I'm gonna get the best finish using my airless sprayer. Here's a look at my Graco airless sprayer. It's a Pro X9. I've had it for over 10 years. Does a nice job. I decided what I'm going to do is take the door off the house first and go ahead and prep it and then paint it. And I'm going to give it 4 hours of dry time before I recoat it with a second coat. So let's go get this project started. Right now we're at the point where we're going to take the door off. It should go pretty easy. I took the middle hinge off already just so I could match that up and get a satin nickel color. And you know what's funny? I've been looking for an excuse to try one of these out right here. I've seen these for years and I checked the reviews. They look like they work really well. They're the air shim. So what you do is you can put this underneath the door, you can pump it up, and that will just kind of help to, like when you're setting the door to line the screws up, it's instead of using like a pry bar to do it, this looks like it's going to work better. I'm going to install this underneath the door right here. I'm going to have it a little bit off center, and if I wanted to stand up and just push on this with my foot to inflate it, I could do that. But right now I'm just going to use my hand because I'm kind of new to using this. And it's just going to be secure right there, maybe a few more. All right, that looks good. Now let's take the hinges off. All right, so with the air shim, the door didn't drop at all. You can just see it still lines up. All right, let's get this door prepped to paint. So I have all the hardware off the door except for the Lockly Deadbolt. What I'm going to do is put some painter's tape around it. I actually loosened the screws so I can kind of get underneath it a little bit too. And then I'm going to use some water and some Dawn dish soap. Put a little bit in. And then I'm going to wipe this door down, try to get any grease off that I can, let it dry, and get it prepped for paint. So now I have the door all prepped. So the door lock is pretty well secure. I took the peephole out, the doorknob off, taped the rubber seal on the bottom. As far as I can see, this is going to work really well. I put a lot of time into this so far. Wish me luck. Ooh, yeah. This paint is really sticking well. All right, I'm gonna do the sides now. All right, I may have gone a little heavy. I can't tell. Maybe I don't need this extension on there, but we'll see. This is what the first coat looks like after just being on there for a couple minutes. Got a little bit of overspray in the lawn there. You see where I taped it up on this side. So the door is still drying. It's been an hour. The outside corners, I probably have lighter amounts of paint on it. So when I touch with my finger, it stays dry. But in the middle and the grooves, there's a little bit of paint that comes off from there. I'm getting kind of desperate because the sun is starting to set pretty soon. And I need to paint this side, so I propped it up. So now we're going to go and do side number 2. I put a lighter coat on, hoping that it will dry a little faster. The other one looks like it was a little bit too thick. So we're going to give it an hour outside here in the dark to dry, and then we're going to bring it in the garage, let it continue to dry. We're going to finish up the rest of the stuff tomorrow. I'm back now into the second day of the project. It's been 18 hours since I put the last coat of paint on the door right here. Let me show you a closer look at it. The key is light coats. So, all right, something chirping. I felt like I was racing the clock, so I decided to go a little bit heavier, which ended up being a mistake. So today I'm gonna finish getting all the other hardware, the satin nickel stuff, like this new door handle right here. And then when it comes to the door knocker, I'm not sure if the other one I bought is gonna work. Otherwise, I picked up some satin nickel spray paint right here, so I can paint the other one and hopefully make it match so we have no more brass. And then I have my hinges, so let's get started. Here's my old hinge. This is the new one. I'm glad to see what they make right now is exactly the same from something that's like over 20 years old. So I think this is gonna work out really well. I didn't want to have to spray paint those other ones. The holes line up. All right, so I'm excited the time is finally here. We're gonna install the door right there. I'm gonna use the air shim. This is really gonna come in handy. In case my face looks like it's glowing, we have an amazing sky out tonight with the sunset, so I'm getting what they call the golden hour light on me. So anyways, I'm gonna prop this door open and then we're gonna go ahead and install that. All right, so I can use my foot right there to pump that up right there. So you can see the door hinge lines up perfect. Okay, let's put this one in. Right now I have the majority of the screws in the hinges, so we can test out the door and see how it works. Ooh, yeah, liking that. So I'm very happy so far at this point. So the door looks really good. I like the new handle. I like the Lockly Vision Deadbolt. Everything's looking really nice. So now I have to just finish some of these things up tonight. And then tomorrow I'm gonna work on getting some weather stripping for in here to seal that up better. And then get that expanding foam in there and kind of square things up a little bit. So we're gonna finish for now and come back tomorrow. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna take the trim off right here. And I noticed a little bit of a gap at the top too, so we're gonna work on that as well. So this seems to work pretty well. I can get in behind here. So I recommend you just be patient with it. Take it off slow so you don't snap anything. All right, so I have several nails right here. These are 18 gauge brad nails. So I have some end nippers, I believe they're called, that helps pull these out. There isn't a real big gap right here between the drywall and the door jamb, but it has this pink Owens Corning insulation. So what I'm gonna do is shim this out some. It's gonna require two hands, so I'm gonna have to set my camera down. But once I shim that out, then I can spray some of that expanding foam in there. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to remove this weather strip right here. I have some new stuff. See how I can move that. I'm gonna use some shims here, some wood shims. I'm gonna put those in there, and then I'm gonna get my brad nailer and fasten these in there. So now the time is coming to put the foam in there. As I mentioned, make sure you get window and door. So I recommend wearing gloves and having a paper towel handy. All right, here we go. Ooh, oops. So you can always, if you squirt that out a little bit too much, you can always trim that back or push it back in a little bit later. So there's some areas where I have shims and that's not allowing the foam to go in as far. So one thing I recommend is having a drop cloth down below, because if this stuff gets in the carpet, you're never going to get it out. They do say use acetone if you do. Alright, so you can see I have the expanding foam in there. So after it's been installed for about 30 minutes, you can just see it continues to spread out a little bit. So I'll just let that dry and then I'll trim that off. And then, as I mentioned, having a drop cloth is a nice thing. Here's the reason why. Check that out. If that would have spilt on the floor of the carpet, I'd never get it out. Alright, so I'm happy with the way that this turned out. I have it nice and tight. Not sure if you can see that. Put my finger there just to give you a little reference. Big difference. Alright, we're going to take the weather stripping off here. And this one is just... see if I can get the whole thing to come out with the spline. Oh, there it goes. Alright, so just going to work. Oops. Work that from the bottom going all the way up. Slowly remove this from there. It's pinched in there pretty good. Alright. There. It's out. I just went out a few days ago. I bought some new weather strip for two different doors in my house. So the one that I'm working on, I'm going to install this type right here. This is the most expensive. It's like $12 a strip. And then this one right here, this is the less expensive one. This is like $4 to $5 a strip. It's a vinyl wrapped foam insulation, like that gray insulation. So we're gonna see between the two different doors. I'm wondering if it's worth the money to go to this. So when it comes to cutting these, I have these garage style scissors. They're by the Crescent Whisk company. So I'm just gonna see how easy this cuts. Oh yeah, it looks like it's gonna work well. So, all right, let's go back to the front door. All right, so I have the new weather strip going in right here. So I'm just gonna get it really close to the end and then I'm gonna cut it right to the exact length that we need. All right, what do you think, Oakley? Okay, so we're checking out the front door. The makeover is done on the door itself. The storm door needs a little bit of work. That will be another video, but I'll just show you a quick overview of what happened here. So I upgraded everything to satin nickel, like the door knocker right there, the Lockly Vision Deadbolt right there, a new satin nickel latch right there, and then also all the hinges, the hardware. And then I went through, I upgraded all the weather stripping right there. So this is a white rubber. So I have a little bit of paint left over, so in case I have to touch it up, I'm sure the dog's gonna put a couple scratches into it. But so far, 2 coats, looks like it's working really well. I just like the semi-gloss look to it. I think that's gonna be the most durable and give you the best look right there. And one other thing I want to point out on my door down here, the weather strip was still good, so I didn't have to replace that, but they do make replacement sweep weather strip. And then on some doors, there are like 3 or 4 screws where you can adjust the threshold if you need to raise it up or lower it, so that will help minimize the air going through. This door doesn't have it. One of my other doors in my house does. Here, I'll actually show you what it looks like, what I'm talking about. So this is a door that goes out to my garage. So this is a solid piece of oak right here. So if you turn that Phillips screw, I believe if you turn it clockwise like you're tightening it, it will actually raise this up right here. So you can do that. So you just have the right height to keep the wind from coming through. All right, so this project is something that I think is really rewarding. It can get a little bit stressful in the middle when you're painting. You know, sometimes you get paint on stuff, which I don't know why, I just get a little bit stressed out painting sometimes. But the final result, once it's dry and you look at it, it's definitely worth the time and effort. It's such a nice reward to have a door that's looking 100% better. If you're interested in the Lockly products like this deadbolt that I have right here, I'll have a link down below, as I mentioned, to the installation of this, showing more in depth about how this works. And then if you want to see another Lockly product, they have this right here that I haven't taken out of the box yet. This is the model 6S. This is a latch series right here. So I'm going to install this on another door. So actually I'm going to be replacing a door on my garage. So I'll have a link to this down below too. So my goal of this video is to help you guys out. So if you're considering upgrading your front door, hopefully the tips and tricks that I showed you will be helpful. If there's something that I left out, let me know, or if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. And if you find this video to be interesting, informative, and helpful, please give it a thumbs up and help support my channel. That's it, friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.